It seems like everywhere you turn, the powers are telling you to stay inside and, most importantly, do not go to a restaurant. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Fervent 4. Did you know that only 4% of businesses ever cross the annual $1 million revenue mark? I'm Zach Miller, author of Anomaly. With me today, I have my co-host, Tim Ryan. That's Timryan with a space in the middle somewhere. Lead man at startwheel.org. I'm not going to spell that one out. Thank you so much for joining us. The Fervent 4 is a weekly show each and every Thursday at 1 a.m., which is 11 a.m., dedicated to sharing insights into growing a world-class business no matter the climate. So why in the world would Chanice Rawlison disregard all that chatter and open 13B Bakery and Bistro? I'll ask her that, plus what pitch competitions have done to help her in the business world. Fervent 4 Nation, please welcome Chanice to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Good. Just enjoying the snow, I guess.
You know, we've done this I think you're the 42nd guest on the show. And I think that's the first question where I've asked, how are you doing? Usually I ask something ridiculous.
It's the first time we've had snow.
It is the first time we've had snow. So are you a fan of snow or?
Because I'm from San Diego. So like if we wanted to see snow, we had to drive up to the mountains on Christmas Eve. So I've been here 11 years and still when it snows, I'm like in awe.
Well, and it doesn't snow a lot here. Tim's from Buffalo, so he lived 365 in snow. It just never melts there. And I think we got like 2 or 3 inches. I don't know, depending on where you live in the Greater Hampton Roads area. I mean, that's a lot for here. So who knows? You know, that could be the most snow that some people have ever seen.
Right. They canceled school yesterday afternoon in anticipation of that 1 inch of snow.
Oh, but your kids were going back to school at that point?
Yeah, they brought kids back to school, certain kids. So since there are kids going back to school, they had to make the appropriate cancellations. But I guess they're using that time to get teachers vaccinated. So nice way to maximize time.
Sure. I when I went to bed, I didn't anticipate snow. I didn't think there would actually be snow. I woke up, I looked out the window, I said, "Oh, I was wrong." Yeah. And yes, I admit when I'm wrong, Tim. Just so you know, it doesn't happen very often. But
I've never known you to be wrong before.
There you go. And I was like, "Oh, I guess it's snowing. That's interesting." And then I thought, okay, so does school get canceled when they're working remotely? So you answered that question, at least for your area. And from a working remotely perspective, how does that work where it might have been a snow day too? I wonder. Questions to ponder.
Yeah.
So how long have you been cooking?
I've been cooking literally since I was 8, but for other people and professionally for about 8 years now.
And what got you into that world?
My dad had a passion for cooking when I was growing up, and that was really his way of like showing love to other people. And he was in the military, and then when he got out of the military, he drove trucks, so he was gone a lot. And one of the things we looked forward to was when he got home, he would cook. He would go to the grocery store and cook us big meals, and I was always at the counter watching him cook and learning. So that's where it started.
Is there a favorite meal that you have that you think back, whether it's something from him or something that you love to cook?
His steak. He made the best steak. But now me and my husband have been watching Hell's Kitchen a lot. And like he's been picking up on little things. And he made a steak the other night. And I think he has my dad beat. So
well, okay, so it's funny because Gordon Ramsay will teach you how to make the best steak. You know, screaming hot skillet or a grill, right? He would probably say a skillet in this case because it's going to be, I guess, pan roasted. You know, put some sort of olive oil down, then put the steak down, minute, flip it, then go side to side, then throw in some butter, then some shallots, then some garlic, then some rosemary. Bam.
Well, look at you.
That's Emerald Lagasse. Hold on. What's that, Tim?
Are you looking for a job?
And coming from a vegan.
Oh.
Well, I'm not a vegan, but I'm a vegetarian, and my wife still eats meat, so I still know how to cook a steak. ironically, I think I've become a better cook of meat since I stopped eating meat. I don't know why.
Discipline, man.
I don't know. Okay, so a steak, that's great. But it seems like the bistro, from the pictures that I can see, it's not open yet. It's opening soon?
Soon, yeah. Within the next 2 to 3 weeks is our goal.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about the menu.
So we're doing brunch. We have full breakfast meals. So we're doing Belgian waffles. Some of our flavors are peachy pecan, strawberry, vanilla bean. We have banana cream, and we'll be able to do a lot more flavors once we actually get going and get to do some different things. And then for lunch, we have paninis. We're doing, we have a jerk chicken panini, a pulled pork panini, and we have a Monte Cristo. We're doing some bistro style sides like smoked Buddha corn, baked mac and cheese, and Cajun green beans. So simple stuff, but very yummy.
Yeah, I am definitely looking forward to trying that out. I've seen these pictures for what seems like for a long time, for at least a few months now. So I'm looking forward to those. How did you decide to take this idea to start saying, all right, this is the time. I want to do this thing for real.
Yeah. So as you know, I started baking about 8 years ago. I made a cake for my daughter and posted it on Facebook, and then we got an order that weekend. And I was terrified. I didn't think I could do it. It's like this huge fondant cake, and it was for a nurse's celebration. And I told her, I don't know how to do that yet, but I can try. And since it's my first time, I'll only charge you $20. This cake ended up weighing like 40 pounds, and it cost me like $90 just to make it. But it set us off in a direction that, obviously was meant for us. And then we had been working with the city of Newport News, looking at opening up a bakery. But I really wanted to combine my love for food and baking, and kind of get my toes wet before I just completely jumped into the restaurant scene. So we thought the mobile bakery and bistro would be a good way to go.
And so you charge $20 to the person who buys it. Were you trying to sell it on Facebook? Or did they just happen to see it and say, hey, like, we want something like that?
Yeah, she just happened to see. So the thing I made for my daughter was something totally different. It's called a pull apart, and it was cupcakes that shaped into like a ballerina dress, and it had a tiara on it. Mm-hmm. And she wanted a cake for a nurse's celebration. So we ended up doing a full sheet cake covered in fondant with a stethoscope and all kind of decorations on it. I have this thing where I go above and beyond, I guess, design wise, because my creative wheels get to going. So, I threw out $20. I had no idea what I was talking about.
So I mean, obviously a huge spread there just in costs to you, not the time and not, the marketing of the thing that you weren't really trying to market at that point. But so what did you learn from that experience of, hey, like, how do I really understand my cost and figuring out a number that's appropriate to charge someone?
Mm-hmm. So more than the materials, the thing that was the most important for me to figure out with my pricing and costs and stuff like that was the value of my time, because the cakes take a lot of work. You'll hear a lot of people say like, oh, it's just a cake, or I'll go to Walmart. But they really take hours, sometimes days of prep and cooking and designing to make it work. So that was the most valuable lesson that I took. And then just learning, the different costs of the materials and ingredients that it takes to make a quality cake.
What's some of the feedback that you've received when people hear that you're getting ready to start a business in 2020 we're in 2021 now, but people are calling it 2020 part 2 or the extended version? What's some of the feedback people are saying to you as you're getting ready to open?
As soon as I say it, they say, why? Or is that still allowed? Aren't you scared? Those are the biggest questions. People think I'm kind of a nut.
I mean, the thing that I appreciate is if you can, when you open, and when you're successful, I mean, you're able to survive and thrive in times like this, then you're going to be great. I mean, I think that it's awesome and such a great lesson to start now, so that you have to be very lean. You have to know how to stretch that dollar. And if you can start maximizing revenue and profits now, then you're going to be in great shape when things turn around and vaccines start flowing or whatever the case might be, I think it's a great time to start a business.
I do too. I know it sounds crazy to some people, but there's so much opportunity, not to take away from the negative of COVID, but there is a lot of opportunity out there right now, especially for something like a mobile bakery and bistro, because I'm a huge foodie myself. I want food all the time. But I'm not really comfortable going to a restaurant, sitting down in a small space. So to be able to get restaurant quality food on a food truck, where I don't really have to be surrounded by other people, I would like that.
Yeah, so I guess those that are, to piggyback on Tim's question, so those that are saying that you're crazy and that starting this is a little wild. I mean, do you just straight up go, "Hey, well, we're open this day. We'd love to see you," or what's your response to stuff like that?
Yeah, if you think I'm crazy, okay, I am. You know what I mean? You have to be really to be an entrepreneur.
Well, I was going to say that they might call you crazy even pre-COVID or post-COVID when
exactly.
You're opening a business. That's ridiculous. Did you know the margins in this or this? It's like, yeah. So
like you said, pre-COVID, every time I talked about wanting to do a restaurant or a food truck or something, all I got was the stats of how many restaurants fail within the first 5 years. And
were those from people who actually have started a business?
No,
of course
and
not.
That's the biggest thing. It's always people who have no experience and, you know what I mean, don't know what they're talking about.
Never listen to those people. Smile, listen, consume it, but don't actually do anything with it. That's my advice to you. I mean, I think we actually said this last week. You don't go to your dentist and ask them accounting questions, right? And so this person who happens to watch Shark Tank that now thinks they're the world's greatest business coach that's giving you feedback on something, it's like, yo, calm down.
Someone who watches Hell's Kitchen knows how to cook a steak.
Right.
I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm cancel Zach Miller. It's 2021. I'm done.
Zach, I love you, man.
I'm done. Bye. All right. I counted to 3 and I'm back. No, like we are unique individuals in ourselves that are willing to like bet on ourselves. And then to hear someone who's not willing to bet on themselves tell you how you're going to succeed or not. I mean, I just think that's childish and I'm over it. Like, it's just, it's silly.
Oh, yeah. It's you've got to be able to bet on yourself. And Chanice, you have the endurance and you've overcome life. I mean, you have the tenacity and the ability to keep on pushing through. And starting a business is going to be one of the most challenging things that you ever do. Maybe not the most challenging, but it's going to be challenging. But at the same time, it's also going to be the most rewarding. But in the few months that we've known one another, you have demonstrated that you have the ability to overcome those challenges. And one of the things that I found really quickly as I started working with startups and founders is that not all of them have that strength and the ability to keep pushing through when times get tough.
Yeah.
Resume entrepreneurs. That's what I call those people who aren't good enough. I mean, I remember, so Chanice, you don't know this about me, but about 10 years ago when I started Hatch, the idea was to invest in a handful of businesses in a cycle and put them through the ringer, and we would take a cut out of that business and we would help them grow. And I remember it was the second round of Hatch, and we took a company that on paper was resume entrepreneur, where it just says this thing is going to be great. Literally, we introduced this person to someone else, one of our mentors, if you will. Actually, I think it was an actual investor in that case. That investor invited them to meet this other person. And then that person offered them a job and they took it and basically bailed on the company. I was like, we just invested in you. So it's a big learning experience for me on like investing. But then also it's just like this person, like, just because you have the stats that say that you know how to be a great entrepreneur does not mean, and maybe you had done stuff in the past, does not mean that you're going to be successful. So a lot of lessons learned there. So you guys met at Start Peninsula? Is that?
You did.
Was it this year Start Peninsula?
Mm-hmm. 2020.
2020 Start Peninsula. Look at that. So how long had you been thinking of the idea of starting a truck? And was it always a truck?
Initially it started off as wanting to do a storefront. But looking into it and it was just overwhelming, and I didn't feel like I had enough know-how to really jump into that yet. So the truck was an idea for about 2 years. We started working on it, and then I got pregnant. So I had to take time off of working on the truck, and then COVID hit. So it was kind of slow rolling here up until I met Tim and got involved with Start Wheel or Start Peninsula.
All of the above.
Yeah.
You're muted, Zach.
It's the first time I've been muted in 2021. Jeez. So were you a finalist? I don't. How did it go at Start Peninsula this year? So Start Peninsula, for those of you listening, is like a build a company in a weekend competition that Tim has been running for. Is that fair to say? Running for a while now, 5 years at least.
Yeah, we're starting the ninth year this year.
Yeah. But you've been kind of the lead man for a while with it, and so it goes to finalists, and then a few people win a little bit of cash, I believe. Were you a finalist? How did that whole thing go down?
So I was a finalist in the first round. The first round I won, and then we went on to the second round. And I wasn't chosen, but I still won.
Come on, judges. Who are these judges? I want to see their names. I want to know everything about them.
I think we'll have one of those judges next week.
Oh, wow.
Who was it?
Daniel from 757 Angels.
All right. Well, he's going to hear it.
Thank you. You get it.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I mean, with everything, at least that I have found, even if you look at like American Idol, The Voice, some of these other competitions that you see on TV, and the same holds true with Star Peninsula as well, is that I have found that some of the most successful people aren't necessarily the people that won. Mm-hmm. And I definitely put you in that category as well.
Well, look at Start Norfolk. Right? The greatest Start Norfolk company of all time, which is a very similar event that I used to host. The greatest company out of that was 7 Cups of Tea. They got second place.
Right.
And I don't know if you know 7 Cups. I think it's 7 Cups now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know what their worth is now, but they've raised a ton of cash. Very successful business from that standpoint. But they didn't win. It just shows you, and I said Makerspace didn't win, right? So winning is only in the judges' minds of their rubric of something that it is what it is.
Yeah, I learned so much. I'm sure Tim knows from just the first time we spoke up until now. Like, I've learned and grown so much, and it helped me develop a thicker skin. And you have to believe in yourself no matter what. And it really pushed me to believe in myself more and just stay true to what I wanted and stay true to my passion and my motivation. So
thick skin.
And the thing, and being coachable as well is really, really important. But you being able to balance the fact that you're open to new ideas, you're open to learning, but also staying true to what you believe is the right thing to do as well. So
we have a question who I think, my guess, is not just from Facebook user. I believe it's from Donna Ord. This is a Facebook thing where you have to give Facebook access to show their name, and this person has it. But my guess is it's Donna Ord because she used to own a food truck, Carnage Asada, a great Asian Mexican. I don't know what she would call it, but it was great burritos, kimchi, and all that stuff. Without a lot of events going on, she says, I think she's saying this. If it's not her, I don't know. Without a lot of events going on and more people working from home, what's your sales strategy starting out?
So we're going to be in a lot of places. We're going to be at the shipyard. You guys know they're never off. They're always down there. So we plan on getting a lot of people down there. There still are people out there working in the field, like downtown Newport News at City Hall. So that's one of the biggest things with being a mobile bakery and bistros. We're able to go a lot of different places, and we're allowed to be flexible with our sales strategy. So we can offer delivery to people that are at home. We can do online sales. We might be parked outside of your local local home improvement store or something like that.
I was wrong. It's Chris Hill.
Hi, Chris.
Who is a former guest of the show, Chef Chris Hill. He's going to be so mad at me for saying that. If you haven't checked out his stuff, it's wonderful.
But, yeah, he's great.
Interesting with Donna, though, is she to piggyback what you were saying is she would always say something like, "If you're not moving, you're losing."
Right.
And in that world, especially here, I think in other cities it might work. Other cities across the country it would work differently because there's a huge density. Even during COVID, I think there would still probably be a huge density of food trucks. That's my guess. I don't know. But like she was like, we had to go to different locations all the time because one day it would work here, but then if we tried doing it a second day, you know, you'd be screwed. And so I think that's a great strategy so far.
And I think that, you know, other things, the thing that I like so much is just the fact that you are able to go wherever things are happening. Whereas if you had a storefront, you're at the mercy of everybody coming to you. And so like right now you're able to think out of the box. And I know that we've talked about different things that we can do to help your business. I mean, like right now, the housing market in our area is on fire. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday who's a realtor. And I was like, hey, when you're having a big open house, you know who to call because we got a great food truck there. And he's like, dude, I'm totally in. I did that once before. And we had the biggest showing of any open house that we had.
That's the response we get from almost everybody we talk to. Even the guy we buy our cars from here, there's like a car wash next to him and everybody's just, you know, going at us, park here, because it's good for them. It draws people to them, but mutually beneficial. So
when it seems like a food truck would seem, I'm not a doctor, so it would seem like a food truck would feel more safe for people because they're outside, they can be more spaced out. From a restaurant perspective, like me, I've been to a restaurant once since COVID hit. You know, it is what it is. But a food truck, yeah, you walk up. I mean, what's the difference between that and go to the Mac Shack? Not much.
Yeah.
So primarily based in Newport News, is that what I'm hearing?
Primarily, yes. For, you know, getting started off in the beginning, that's where they wanted us to be mostly. That's where our biggest market is. And then a big part of my mission and my passion is serving those in underserved communities. So places where there is a lack of food, especially quality and affordable food. Tim knows this about me from my pitch he heard 10,000 times. But that's a huge, huge part of what I want to do. And it's most important to me. So that's my reason for going downtown. I lived down there for 10 of the 11 years that I was here. And I know how hard it is to get food. I know how far away everything is. And I know how it feels not to have a nice place to go in your own neighborhood.
Tim, I want to piggyback off that. I want to, okay, so I think that's admirable. That's fantastic that you want to do that. As someone whose first lesson in business was that you severely undercharged someone by telling someone $20 for a cake that ended up costing $90 and didn't use didn't even have your time in that. How do you serve those that are underserved and still, from a business perspective, make the capital necessary so that your family can put food on the table as well?
So we put that into our approach to the menu, like a lot. Breakfast, as you know, is not very expensive to make. It is like the item that people go out for the most, I guess, which is weird to me because it's the simplest and the cheapest in my mind, but that's what people like. So again, as Tim knows, my family has a background in food. My father-in-law is an executive chef. He's done it for over 20 years. My mother-in-law worked for professional bakeries for over 15. So we were able to design a menu that allows us to provide quality food and still keep prices low enough to where my family continues to eat. So lots and lots of research. I didn't just jump in like I did with my cake. It was a lot of research, a lot of pricing, a lot of surveys and stuff, finding out what people wanted and combining that with, our idea of what good food is.
And I think that the other aspect too is it's not necessarily underserved, not necessarily in the sense of people can't afford it. Underserved in the sense there's not a lot of choices for people to go visit.
Mm-hmm.
So the Southeast community of Newport News, I believe the phrase you used was it's essentially a food desert that people have to travel miles and miles and miles to find an establishment to go to.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah, the nearest breakfast restaurant, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the area. Tim, I know you are, but IHOP is all the way over in Hampton Coliseum. That's the nearest sit-down breakfast restaurant.
From downtown?
Yeah, from downtown Newport News. No coffee shops. I've been working with the city, some of the representatives from the city of Newport News, and even now they're asking about us being down there and parking outside of City Hall because they don't have any restaurants. There's no cafeteria. There's nothing. So if they want to go somewhere, they have to, go all the way to the other end of Newport News or Midtown just to get something to eat.
You should try to figure out a way for them to pay you to be there and them to pay you to because I remember actually a few years ago that they were trying to bring in something like a D-Egg from downtown Norfolk over there because there was no breakfast joint in downtown. So yeah, I mean, food desert, that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. And just again, I love the mobility factor that you have that allows people. And so, what you have and what you can work with. Whereas another thing that you're able to do is the neighborhood that I live in, there's the adjacent neighborhood, there's the community pool that the homeowners association has. And I think they have like a food truck Friday thing where they announce it to their entire neighborhood. And there's just at a time where not a lot of people want to go out, to Zach's point, to go sit down in a restaurant, but people are still itching to get out of the house and have something different than with something they make. You have that option to go where the people are. And I do think that that right now, if any big restaurant was starting, they have to totally rethink how they would open their restaurant so that they could accommodate those people. And with you, I think you're able to start from scratch so that you don't have to retool anything. You can start with the way that it needs to start right off the bat.
It's exciting. I'm still really excited. It's been in the making for a few years and there have been a lot of ups and downs, but I'm still excited. I'm very excited.
What's the favorite thing on your menu?
My favorite thing? The peach pecan waffle. It's so good. So good.
So when you have it down, what do you do? How do you get through it?
You just keep pushing. I just try to stay positive, remember why I'm doing it, and remember what the end result will be. The biggest thing that I had to learn through this whole process was to celebrate the small things. I'm a person where everything's big picture, and if I'm not making big steps or doing something huge, then I was hard on myself, and I wouldn't celebrate the fact that, okay, today I tore the walls down in the trailer. Today I did another paragraph for my pitch. So that was my main thing.
Don't ever forget that, because I think a lot of people do, and a lot of people actually never even reflect enough to even recognize that, where it's you're doing like monumental things on a daily basis and you don't recognize it. And then you're like, I haven't done anything. It's like, well, actually you've done a lot. Let's look at the list of things. I mean, that wall needed to be torn down. Let's be honest, right?
Right. Yeah. And you've certainly had your share of challenges. Talk about the story about when you're in the middle of the remodel and the storm came through. I mean,
yeah. So we bought a 1973 Midas camper. That was my vision. I wanted a camper converted into a food truck. I'm kind of like a hipster retro Cali girl. I hate to say it. My daughter would call it cringe, but so we got to the point where we were like 95% finished with this camper. I mean, we tore out the original stove, the refrigerator, the couch, the bathroom, everything, and put up new walls, and we were almost done. And the hurricane came, and a huge branch fell from a tree in my front yard and landed on the roof of the trailer. it pretty much demolished the top of the trailer. There was a hole that was probably about 8 inches across, and it knocked out ceilings and everything. And with that, it also rained. It poured into the trailer, so all the walls had to be torn out again. We had to get all new equipment. So a couple months after that is when I learned of Tim and the pitch and got into that.
And just a minor setback, but again, I mean, it comes to the perseverance that you have to continue to push forward.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough to see all of our work and money that we had put into it, all the materials and equipment and stuff we had already done, just kind of, washed away. And
So insurance doesn't pay for that?
It didn't. It didn't. We submitted. I didn't have insurance on the trailer yet. It was on our property, so we tried through the homeowner's insurance, and they were like, "Yeah, no."
So what's the lesson learned there? Get insurance earlier, I guess?
Yes, and don't park under trees.
You know what's interesting? Like I don't. Well, actually, I do have a lot of trees, but I guess someone was telling me like you got to be careful on like if a tree falls on someone's like just your regular house, right? Like if a tree in your yard falls into someone else's yard, who is at fault for that? Is it the person whose tree is in their yard? Is it the person whose house is on the other place? Insurance. What a wild world that is.
Everyone's got to have it. But yet, whenever you want to file a claim, they all think about what reasons why they don't have to pay the claim.
But it made it a lot better. Like the way that we had to re-gut it, tear everything out. We have so much more space and stuff now. So in a weird way, I'm like thankful that I haven't.
Interesting. And I think that, the more podcasts that I listen to, the more books that I read or listen to, I mean, all of these businesses that start, they all have similar challenges. And to think that anybody can start a business without any challenge, is extremely unlikely. And to your point, they're all lessons learned, and you're stronger as a result.
Well, and you get to look at it the second time and you'd be like, oh, well, this is what I learned. This is, this hasn't happened to me, but people talk about, oh, I wrote a book and then I somehow lost that book. Then they have to rewrite that book, and they're like, oh, well, I made it better the second time because I took all the crap from before and turned it into lemonade. Mm-hmm. Lemon into lemonades. So a couple weeks, you said you're going to be opening the doors?
Yes.
And where would the first location be?
So the first location is going to be outside of the Newport News shipyard. We don't have a specific spot yet. We're still waiting. Everybody's kind of short-staffed and moving a little slower right now. So we're just waiting on the final word at which spot we'll be in, but we'll be close to the gate, the entry gate.
So are there other food trucks there currently? How does that work?
I saw one. They had a lot of food trucks. I'm not sure what happened. We actually knew somebody who had one down there. My mother-in-law was good friends with him for years, like 30-something years. And he just passed away from prostate cancer, I believe, last year. So he had two down there, and those are gone. But I did run into one when I was down there kind of peeping the other day, seeing what's going on.
Okay, so I've never had the food. I'm just going to assume it's good. But let's say that you go to a location and the results aren't as favorable. People aren't enjoying it as much. Do you listen to that? Do you find a new location? Do you do something else? How do you take the feedback from the person who's paying you?
I always listen. I want to hear what people have to say, good or bad. If you don't like it, that's room for me to improve. And again, my creative wheels get to turning. So I want to know more about, okay, you didn't like this. What do you like? What would you like to see? And then I'll find a way to incorporate that with, our vision of what our food is like, and go back and try again.
Very cool. Tim, you haven't had the food yet though, right?
No, but I've seen many, many, many pictures, and it is definitely looks great, just over the top in terms of your creativity and your ability to make it happen.
Yeah, looking at the pictures a few days ago, I was like, I'm gonna need some of that.
You may know him as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I know him as just a man who has done incredible things for the last few decades. But how can you use his techniques in your business? I'll show you exactly how. Head on over to ZachMillerSays.com/The Rock, and you can smell what he's cooking.
Every time I watch that, which is every week, it's like, why did I do that? That's ridiculous. Everyone needs more of The Rock. He has a new TV show coming out called Young Rock.
I didn't see that.
What a guy. So COVID is something where a lot of people are both sides of the aisle, I guess, like extremes, super paranoid and like, let's just live life as it is. How do you, as a business owner, kind of grasp what you're getting into? And from a policy perspective, where they're changing a lot of stuff constantly, how do you just prepare for a lot of the unknowns due to the pandemic?
It's staying informed. And I think a lot of dealing with COVID and safety is common sense. So to me, it's not that difficult. Wash your hands, wear gloves, wear a mask. Being someone who, Tim, I don't know if I told you this before, but I was a nursing student a long time ago. So with that and just having 6 kids and already being aware of, safety precautions and cleanliness for this industry and cooking and stuff, it's all second nature to begin with.
I mean, yeah, it is funny that, the whole major thing was wash your hands regularly.
Yeah. It's kind of gross, right?
Yeah, it's obviously there's more to that, but like it was always interesting to see that. So, has there been anything recently that kind of popped up that you have to change because of new policy that's been thrown out there?
It's mostly just working around the companies and the cities and stuff like that I'm working with, because they are short-staffed and just kind of taking their time because they're able to right now, with COVID being a reason. That's the only thing. As far as our operations and running the food truck and everything, it all stays the same.
So about the approval process, is all that stuff, is that virtual right now? I mean, do you walk around with an iPhone or something and FaceTime and show them, this is what the refrigerator looks like, this is what the oven looks like? Explain that process during.
So in the beginning, when you're applying to even get inspected, you submit something called a plan review. So you submit all the materials your walls, ceilings, floors are made of. You submit a menu and an equipment list. So they look all of that up and make sure it's okay and it's food safe and approved. And then they are doing the virtual inspection. So I'll take my phone around and show them all the equipment. Lots of thermometers are going to be involved with making sure the refrigerator is staying at temp and temping foods, temping the heater, and then just demonstrating that we do have running potable water and our sanitation stuff. So it should be interesting doing it virtually. I was terrified of them getting up there and like nitpicking, so it was kind of an advantage for me.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So success, I can't remember if you're the first business to start. I think you're definitely the first food truck to start that we've talked to in 2021 at least. So how do you look at success? How do you define success? You're going to open in a few weeks. Looking back after that first day, that first week, that first month, first year, whatever, what would make you feel like you did a good job and were successful through the launch?
Yeah, that's something I've actually been talking to my husband about a lot lately because, like I said a few minutes ago, I am a bigger picture type of person. So initially, success for me was like, okay, I want to make $100,000 this year, or I want to have my second truck open in 6 months. I'm learning again to look at it in smaller steps. And success for me right now, that first day of opening and our first customer, and then closing out for that day, is going to be a huge success just because of everything that we've been through with trying to get it open, everything that I've gone through while trying to open it and still pursued what I wanted to come out and persevere and be able to open on that first day, that'll be success for me.
And another thing, just to, I've said piggyback like 27 times today. I don't know why I do that. Like I feel like I never say that. So when you're putting together metrics like this, I remember Donna Ord from Carnage Asada again, how she had gotten a second truck. And I feel like when she got that second truck, she regretted it. Or maybe she liked it. I don't know. But my point of this was to talk to other food truck owners, even right now and once you're open, to figure out like what's good and bad about this area, and maybe ways that you can learn from them. Because even a restaurant owner compared to a food truck owner, they're going to give you very different advice. And so maybe there's ins and outs there. And I can give you Donna's information as well. But I definitely think that that's something that you would want to know. Like, do I get a second truck? How to know when to get a second truck? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any sense now in terms of the food truck community? Are they pretty tight knit? Do they share, or is it competitive? Do you have any idea?
So far, the ones that I have reached out to, they're not too open to sharing. I don't know if it's because of the circumstances of the way things are right now, and everybody's kind of fighting for their space right now and fighting to survive. Also, people are just busy right now, so I have reached out. Hopefully I'll be able to get in touch with some. Again, I've done a ton of research. I know it's different researching, and then once you get out there and see how it really is. So hopefully I'll be able to find somebody who can help me out a little bit with what to expect.
Yeah, one of the things that you did that I thought was really admirable was you started working on your email list very early. Is that something that you're still doing? If people watching the show, if they want to get on the list to see what your schedule is going to be, is that something that you're still doing, or how do people get in touch with you?
I am. So if you go on my website, 13 Bistro, I'm going to put a link up for our bakery site, the things that we're able to do now pre-food truck. If you want to order desserts and stuff like that, you can do that there. And there's also a subscription box that will let you know and keep you informed about when we're opening, where we'll be. And then we'll also be on Twitter and everything, letting people know where they can follow us.
Yeah, it's amazing how the whole industry has kind of evolved in the sense of a lot of people's decisions on where they go is based on what food truck is going to be where. Yeah,
food trucks. I love food trucks. Like food trucks back when I used to go to them, we called them roach coaches. They had like French fries and, greasy stuff, and they've come such a long way. And, even with ours, I think it's going to be awesome to be able to come and get like a latte. I'm a coffee addict. So like the lattes are really good, or food, or you can come and get a banana pudding jar or a slice of cheesecake, stuff like that. On a food truck that's a long way from the food trucks. I'm sure the roach coaches,
Well, it's just a hot dog.
Yeah.
So that'll be super interesting. It'll be interesting too to see like how true to form you stick with your menu and how the market really tells you they want something else, and it'll be interesting to see how that world works out for you. So if someone is watching and is interested in a pitch competition, what could they expect getting out of something like that?
To get out of what would they?
Yeah, something like a Start Peninsula. Like at the end of the weekend, you went into it expecting what, and then what did you actually get out of it?
Well, to be honest, I went into it expecting like kind of to just practice and see what pitches were like and stuff like that. I didn't think anybody was as crazy as me to, pick a food truck trying to start in the middle of a pandemic to win. But what I took away from it, I took away so much knowledge and so many relationships. Tim is awesome. I have opportunities like this now. I had a business plan before that I did, and I was able to go back and seriously revamp it from the things that I learned and the things that I had to look up to be competitive in the competition. I think that anybody who wants to do it, who's looking to learn and grow and, possibly win some money to make their dreams progress, should definitely look into it. It was so worth it.
Yeah, I think to your credit, the thing that you did was, and I tell everybody this when they first start kicking the tires of looking into the ideas, you're going to get out of it what you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And to your credit, you put a lot into it, and in turn, you got a lot out of it. So that's great for you. And we, gosh, you and I, it's if I have to go back into my past dates of my calendar, especially around that October, November timeframe,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm always amazed at how many meetings that we had together to go over your pitch, but you put a lot of time into it, and you establish a lot of relationships. There's so many people that are there to support you now, and they want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, it's like, just go in, be vulnerable and tell, and just be there with an open mind and learn what you can learn. You'll be amazed what you walk away from, and you're total proof of that.
Thank you. And the help, it was amazing. And also, like, everybody is as scared as you are, and everybody's like as bad as you are. Nobody there is a professional pitcher. That was my fear. So, just go, be confident.
Do you remember the pitch that you gave? Can you give us a glimpse of it? Was that a no, I don't remember? Was that a no, like?
I remember some of it. It's kind of a blur. It was so much and so little time. I think I signed up maybe 2-3 weeks before the pitch time. So I still have like my little script on my computer.
Yeah, that was an interesting dynamic this year.
Right, because it was all online.
Yeah. But you did great.
Thank you.
I mean, it's hard to become a finalist, right? I mean, it
took a lot. It took a lot of time. I was on Tim's nerve.
No,
I mean, I think a lot of people don't actually put in 1 ounce of practice. They get up there and they're like, yo, and it's like, yo, you suck. Like, and I'm one who loves to not practice, but but that doesn't mean that I'm not comfortable with what I'm going to say. And I think there are very different things. And you can, as someone who's judged that competition at least twice, and I've attended it multiple times, Tim, and then doing my own, like I've seen, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of pitches at this point. You can tell when someone's good and someone's bad like that.
Yep.
The Fervent 4 is powered by the Small Business Development Center, which helps local small businesses grow through counseling. If you're interested in learning more on how the SBDC can help your business, head to startwheel.org/weekly.
Has anything surprised you during this journey yet? Or is this kind of what you've expected? Or what's the most pleasant surprise that you've had?
The most surprising thing, and that happens to be pleasant, is the level of support that I've received from people like Tim, who I haven't known that long, as opposed to, people who I've known for years that said, when you're ready, I'm here. Anything you need, I'll help. And they're nowhere to be found. So the support from everybody that genuinely wants to see you do good, that was very surprising for me.
What's interesting on that, to piggyback 28 times. So ask someone for, like, hey, you want to buy this thing? And they say, yeah, I'll buy it when you open. And then they never show up, right? Or someone's saying, hey, like, I'll help you out. Like, the person who actually has the wallet open, right? Getting that person's wallet open, it doesn't have to actually be a wallet in this case, but it's so easy for people to mislead you into thinking that they're going to be helpful. And then when you actually request something from them, whatever that transaction to be, whether it be monetary through money or just help with something else, hey, can you listen to my pitch? Can I call you? Whatever. How many people will ignore you in those situations? Right. And so now as a business owner, you're going to learn, what's the saying? Like you figure out really who your friends are. Yeah. And it's interesting how people don't really care about you once you start doing this thing. So not that I'm hoping that those things happen to you, but you will see more will definitely happen more. Why do you think that is, Tim?
I don't know. I mean, and it's interesting because
you've seen it. You get what I'm saying, right?
Oh, for sure. And I think that I don't know. I mean, The interesting thing about the entrepreneurial community is, and Chanice, you found this out really quickly, was that I tell everybody, just jump in. You'd be surprised. People that they don't see. It's just like there's no prejudice one way or the other. The only determining factor within the community of entrepreneurship is if you succeed or not. People don't care about gender, color, anything. I mean, it's just we're just there to do one thing, and that's just help each other succeed. Yeah. And the thing that's so cool about the community as well is that it's self-policing. So if someone is there that is just totally interested in helping themselves and they're just selling, you're ignored, and then you're no longer welcome. So that part of the community is really neat as well.
Yeah, that email list just happens to get an unsubscribe on there by the person who created the unsubscribe or the email list. Yeah, I mean, that's true. They might get an invite, but then they don't get a second invite. They just magically get deleted off of that thing.
Yeah. And I think that the other thing about that, Zach, is entrepreneurs, you have to be optimistic. You can't go into something pessimistic or negative that you're not going to succeed. So I like surrounding myself with optimism and positive people. And generally those people are there to help and support you. So that part is nice. And I think that, so finding out who your friends are and who your friends aren't, some of those people that now you're getting further away from that entrepreneurial circle, whereas maybe they're not as optimistic, or, they're secretly throwing shade at you or not wanting you to succeed.
You definitely don't want to be in a business, owning a business, being an entrepreneur, starting a new business, growing a business, whatever, with a negative attitude and a bunch of negative people around you. That is not good.
That has changed who I am, like, as a person. Doing this is the people that I want to surround myself with. I don't want to hear your negativity.
Right.
We have enough going on ourselves trying to get a business up and running. We have enough self-doubt at times. We have enough things that we have to overcome. So anybody who's negative at all, you don't have to fully support me. Keep it to yourself. But you know what I mean? If you're negative, then that's changed a lot with how I deal with people.
That's why I said, bye, I'm not talking to you anymore. Unfollow on Facebook. Bye-bye. No, thank you. Like, not interested. I don't care. It is what it is.
Right. What is there anything? What's the one thing that you're most nervous about, or that keeps you up, like, in anticipation of?
I think the thing that's the most nerve-wracking for me overall is feeling like I might not live up to other people's expectations. It might not be what other people view as successful. So trying to get over that is my main thing at the moment.
So how do you attempt to start getting through that?
Just remembering that it's not about everybody else. It's about me. It's about what I think is successful. It's about staying true to what I want and pursuing that no matter what, and recognizing that success doesn't come overnight. It's going to take time to build.
Yeah, I think that for me, if I was in your shoes, one of the things that would be interesting or difficult, and I'm curious what your take is that, looking at Yelp, looking at what the reviews are, and one of the jokes that I was in Key West over the weekend, and we were joking about, the roosters are too loud, 1 star, and people giving you a negative review about something that is completely out of your control. Mm-hmm. So what's your take on paying attention to reviews and correcting those reviews? Have you put some thought into that?
Yes, they're all important. Some people leave negative reviews just because, but I learned quickly when I first started with the cakes that social media it can really, really make or break you. It just takes one bad review. So I think it's all about how you respond to the person and to the situation, and just doing something to try and make it better or prove them wrong with other people. Make it to the point where other people don't even believe that, what they're saying could be true about you.
Yeah, it can definitely be a cancerous place. So family is really important to you. You said you have 6 kids.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a lot. It sounds like a handful. Multiple handfuls. Yeah. So how do you, and obviously this will probably change a little bit more once you open, but how do you juggle the 6 kids and the business that's so mobile?
Yeah, it's kind of tough at times, but it's just time management, making sure you take time to pay attention to home too. And I really just try to involve my family in everything that I'm doing so that even work is family oriented at the same time.
Yeah, that and having that buy-in, from what I have found with my wife, having that buy-in to support. And one of the things that I tell people all the time is the fact that just your significant other, your family, I mean, they're your number one investors. And if they're not invested in what your success, then that's a difficult thing to overcome.
Yeah, it's fun. And I'm very thankful to have them because they're even more excited than I am at times.
Nice.
How old are they?
It's really my kids or just everybody.
I mean, I don't need the whole family tree, but the 6 kids.
The ones that are involved. My kids are. My daughter is about to be 17. My second daughter is 16. I have to think 13, 12, 10, and 8 months.
It's a little bit of a break in there. All right.
Yeah, big break.
Well, okay, so they at least the others understand what you're going through.
They do.
At least, like, not like the 8-month-old wouldn't understand it, but like, the teenagers, they can at least be like, oh, look, Mom, this is great. Yay. I don't know why I did that as a reenactment. That was ridiculous. I haven't even had a Red Bull today. I'm so sorry. Tim, when are you going to go by and are you going to go day one?
That's my plan. Yeah, my plan for sure.
So can people get there when it's at the shipyard? Are they able? Is that open to the public in that case, or is it only to a shipyard?
It's open to the public, and once we get our approval and everything, we're working with a couple other spots in Newport News so that we can have like an opening day at the shipyard, and then somewhere more convenient for other people to come where they don't have to come down there and deal with all that.
So if people go to 13bistro.com, the website on the screen, or 1313bistro.com, they can figure out the schedule so that they can come and put some yummy in their tummy if you want.
Yeah. Anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to talk about? What was the question that you thought we would ask that we didn't ask?
The dreaded question of what do you do? Tell us about your company. I hate that question.
Oh, well, Zach Miller hates that question, so he tends to not ask that. I think that's a terrible interviewer's question. I think it's lame, and I think they should do at least a little bit of research beforehand to figure it out and try to have a real conversation. But not all journalists are created equally. Not that I consider myself a journalist, but
yeah, you just brought yourself down a couple notches with that.
At least 3.
Yeah.
Chanice, this has been absolutely wonderful. For those of you guys listening, 13bistro.com. Make sure to check it out wherever it is in your neighborhood. And if you live somewhere and you want the bistro to come to you, give her a shout. I'm sure that she would make the trek to you, as long as it's not too far. She won't go to Buffalo. Sorry, Tim. I guess if the money was right, she would.
I don't want to go to Buffalo either.
It's been a blast. Thanks for being with us today, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks for listening, and best of luck once you open.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.